I'm Janice Banther. Today we're going to be talking about some books that hopefully you will have in your library soon or you already have. So just going to talk about a couple of them. First I want to talk about is Bonding. This is a very good book. It's written by Klaus and Kendall and Klaus. The reason why this book is so good for us is some of the work that we do is we do work in the jail, and we're doulas for the pregnant inmates. And one of the things that we strongly encourage the women is how important the bonding is when they're there for just that short amount of time. Now, you may not be out there being a doula for inmates, but to be able to express and give evidence-based proof about why bonding is so important. A very good book to read. So this book should be in your library, and for you to be able to share with your clients, and you'll have the information in your head and write down, make sure you know, put sticky things on the pages where it's really important. I have, my goodness, it looks like about 20 pages turned down of things that I want to make sure I remembered in this book. Of course, which I think is probably almost a required reading with almost any doula organization there is, that's pregnancy, childbirth, and the newborn. It's great, especially, well, anybody should be reading it, because this should be a book that you should be recommending to your clients to get, and not just to borrow from somebody, but they should just go ahead and buy. And remember, if your client is on a tight budget like most people are when they're pregnant, they can get their book on eBay, they can get it at half.com, other places, Amazon.com, if they're not able to pay for the book full price. But this is a book that you should not just be lending to people, they should be purchasing this themselves too. Also, I believe, like I said, this is required reading for almost all the certification organizations for doulas, and a lot of times for being a childbirth educator too. Another great book, which is good for you to read, and is also required reading for a lot of the organizations, is The Birth Partner by Penny Simkin. And very good book. This is the latest edition. I believe it's her third edition that she's had out. So it's gotten bigger and bigger as she's put more information in there. So this is a good book to have. Another good book is that I don't have with me because it's being borrowed right now, and it's the Labor Progress book. It was written by Penny Simkin, and it is chock full of diagrams. It is small enough where you really can keep it in your birth bag, and I would encourage you to do that and to have it with you. So when you're in a situation at a birth and you're trying to explain to the mom and to the partner what position you're going to get into and why, this book, you can show the picture maybe to the caregiver or to the nurse or to the midwife why you're getting in this position. You can say, well, in this book it talks about, and you can show the picture, and it makes it a lot easier for them to understand, and also for the mother and the partner to understand if you've not talked about this position before. The Labor Progress book by Penny Simkin. That is really a must-have book. Like I said, it's small enough, it'll fit in your birth bag. This book is brand new out, just came out last year, and it's by Polly Perez, and it's called Doula Programs. Honestly, if you are starting off at the very beginning and you want to know how do you start a doula organization or my own personal company or business or LLC or nonprofit, everything you need to know truly is in this book. It is a fantastic book, and when Polly sent it to me when she was first writing it, and she was telling me the ideas, and she asked me if I would put some input into it too. I did, and when I saw the final product, I was just amazed. I thought, my goodness, I wish I'd had this all those years ago when I started. It has the right kind of forms, everything to get you started off with. I would encourage you strongly to get this if you're starting off. This book is now has become required reading, I know, for a lot of organizations now. The Doula book is taking the place of one of the books that Dr. Kendall, Dr. Klaus wrote, and this is really good, and also might help explain to a client or a future client about what a doula is if they're having some questions. So another good book here. The Doula Advantage, which is a little bit new in the area of books. Maybe not all of you have seen this book. You can see a little piece of paper sticking up where it's holding off a place that we're going to be showing a mom real soon that is one of our clients, that she's going to be reading parts of this book. So again, this has quite a few pages turned down too, just to help explain to somebody why a doula is good if you don't happen to have something like that. This is a sample of a book. I have one that is at my home library that I travel it back and forth. This is on aromatherapy for pregnancy and childbirth. And you got to check with who you're certified with And because sometimes in some of the organizations, aromatherapy falls over on which is over your scope of practice. So make sure you're staying in your scope of practice. But if you have this book or another book on aromatherapy about pregnancy and childbirth, then you can hand this to the mom and say, take this book. Maybe it's a certain page about labor induction or something that she's having a problem with, and say, on this page, it has the information that you need. I'll mark it for you. You can show this to your caregiver and see if it's okay for you to do. So it's good to have these books available for you too, because eventually they're going to be asking you, well, what do you think about aromatherapy? A book that you really need in your library, and if you can get a few copies of these, because this is a book you're not going to be getting back, and that is books for women whose babies don't make it, who are, the old-fashioned term is stillborn. We hear it called fetal demise sometimes, and it could be also a miscarriage. It could also be someone that's lost a baby at 39 weeks or a complete full term or past. This one's called Empty Cradle, Broken Heart. And I would strongly encourage you to get different copies, read through them. Just don't take for granted what you see on the title as being this would be a good book. Check the table of contents, see what it says in the back, read the foreword, read the introduction, make sure it's the right kind of book for who you're giving it to. And you're going to end up giving this book, and the mom's not going to probably want to read it right away. It's very difficult for them to read right away after they've lost a baby. But you want to make sure you have books available, because you're going to get phone calls and someone saying, a friend of mine just lost a baby, or another doula saying, do you know of any books? So make sure you have books. And so this is one that I recommend, Empty Cradle, Broken Heart. It is written by Deborah Davis. It is great if you can get a hold of books that are not real popular, that maybe haven't sold that many copies, but that are just fantastic. This is two books that was written by Gladys Milton. She is a midwife. She's died. She's been gone now for, I'd say, at least 5-6 years. And I had the unbelievable opportunity to hear her speak, and then to go to a separate room and we were all just sitting on the floor, literally at her feet, and hearing more stories. Unbelievable stories about when midwifery first started off in the very beginning in Florida. And it was just a great book. And she wrote, Why Not Me? Because she kept saying, why me, why me, why is this happening to me, or why should I do this? And she realized, well, why not me? And she wrote this book. And you can find these on Amazon or sometimes on eBay if you put a Google alert out that if you see this. But I would get this book. It was self-published, I believe. Yes, it was self-published. And she wrote just the sweetest note to me. Told me I could come and sit on her porch, and she talked to me about birth stories all I wanted to. Second book that she wrote, which is just as good, is Beyond the Storm. Different things that she had to go through with legislator in Florida, the problems that she had working with different caregivers and doing the things that she did, really will inspire you. Both these books will, by the same lady, Gladys Milton, Why Not Me, and Beyond the Storm. Another book that's great, and a midwife turned me on to this book eons of years ago. Very, very hard to find. I found this and I bought it up as soon as I could. It's called A Wise Birth. And it really even gave you permission to do things that are quote-unquote outside the box. Even before you read Ina May Gaskin books and things like that, that it's okay to show emotion during birth, as far as love emotion and things like that. This is a great book about giving women permission to do whatever they want to in labor, to how their body reacts. As an example, I've had moms, like during transition, a lot of times they might either be off the birth ball, out of the water, and maybe they're laying down, and they're really moving all over the place. Their legs are just moving everywhere. And I'll say, do whatever your body's telling you to do. If your body's telling you to make noises, make noises. If your body is telling you to keep moving around, keep moving around. And this book helped me in learning that, and to helping moms realize they can do whatever they need to do to get through that transition period, or whatever it is during the labor where they're pushing. So another great book. This is by no means all the books I have, and by no means all the best books that are out there. You probably have much better books out there in your library, many, many more that you would love to share. And I would like to see you do that. If you will go to, leave the comments right below here, or else if you want to email me personally about some books that you have, and that we could share one of the videotapes further on down the road. Information is right below here where you can email me, or else you can leave a comment about books that you would do. Pull out a book, get a cup of tea, and enjoy it during these cold days. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.